Okay, I guess there is time for a wee bit of sharing again. I have been going through very high demand at the moment at my job, like my workplace. And like literally just like working and sleeping. And a lot of intensity and pressure on the nervous system, on the body, on the psyche. And there was one moment like it felt so overwhelming and my nervous system just like collapsed into a meltdown. And human connection felt unsafe. It was like, because when meltdown happens, it's like pressure cooker just like can't hold that within itself anymore. So it's like emergency release of intensity in the moment. Other way, it's just like nervous system just going to burn down. So it just goes into a meltdown. And like it just feels like I become just like emotional puddle. Just like you can't hold yourself anymore. That's it. Just so overwhelmed, and then it just like it's not even crying. It's like extreme, intense crying, sobbing. And it's necessary for nervous system to do that. Other way, it's just nervous system can't cope. You just go into probably psychosis or something like that. So it's not even funny. So it's good it happens. It's not good it happens, like it's extreme coping mechanism. But our nervous system is enormously wise, enormously intelligent. So it knows what it's doing to keep you sane and to keep you safe. And there was a moment that night I went to bed, and there is that feel of smallness, feel of helplessness. And it was such a desire for a cuddle, for a hug. It's just like nervous system wants to co-regulate through another human. And in the moment, if there is no another safe regulated human is available, only source of regulation was left was presence. So yeah, and that was remembered, and the nervous system just anchored itself in the presence, like fully anchored itself in the sense of presence, in this like sensation filled. So there was no emotional charge anymore because it was released in the meltdown. But the nervous system like felt like very drained, like very fragile. And it really needed to stabilize itself, to regulate itself. If there was safe, calm human available, hugging, cuddling would really help in that moment. But I had no availability in that moment. So, and then, yeah, like couple of months ago, something happened, and like first kind of understanding, realization that nervous system self-regulation through presence is a extremely useful tool to have because relying on other human is not always available, and relying on other human all the time, it's like dependency, like you become codependent on other humans. So it's not like becoming hyper independent, it's interdependency. When humans, safe humans are available, you can depend on them. When they are not available, you're fully capable to function on your own. So it's both. It's not like denying other humans, and it's not like, like fully relying on them only. So it's more flexible, more what is available in the moment. And you can still be very self-sufficient, very self-reliant, and you can still safely rely on other humans as well, which is interdependence, and that's healthy relational strategy. Healthy relational way of being with other humans, interacting with other humans. At least how I'm viewing that at the moment. It might change. But yeah, so I anchored my attention like fully into presence. I could feel how soothing it was for nervous system. Probably some kind of neurochemistry was released in the body because they were like very pleasant sensations. I'm assuming like oxytocins or something like that, but something similar happens, like when other human hugs you, and there is like that feel of like warmth, connectedness. And so very same feeling can happen when attention is fully anchored into presence, into body, into sensations, into this field. It's like one experience of body sensations and environment. And then last night I woke up and I noticed that, like waking up again and just like diving attention, like fully sinking attention in the body, sense in the presence, into this like vastness, openness, field, whatever you call it. And I could see clearly as being as small kids. It was too much for a small child. For a small child nervous system, it can feel way too overwhelming. It's too much to contain that. It can't do that. It just has no capacity. Especially when you have no safe parents who can hold you and who can actually, through their regulated nervous system, teach your nervous system that this field, this openness, the sensations are safe to feel. There is no need to dissociate. But because in my case I didn't have this availability for safe, regulated mom and dad and caregivers, so I could see like how for child's nervous system this openness, this presence, these body sensations are way too much to handle it. And I could see how the safest and only way at that developmental stage for our very intelligent nervous system, for our very intelligent psyche, it was to create coping adaptation mechanism strategies to shift attention into thinking, narrowing it away, dissociating it, like, yeah, like pulling away from this, like narrowing it down to that capacity it can cope with. That's all what it is. And it's nothing bad, it's actually very intelligent. Like, you can clearly see how smart our nervous system is. Or, I don't know, like biology, physiology, whatever you call it. Because it was the only way this body mind could survive. And it was necessary. And then, yeah, that's what I could see clearly last night. And then more I was like anchoring attention into his presence, into this feel of beingness, aliveness. Yeah, you can call it like that as well. And next moment, it was like realization of that is nothing new, that is something very well known. And my assumption, it's something to do with our state before we were born as a physical, like body, when we were carried in mommy's tummies. Because, like, when you're not born in the physical reality, and all there is just like sense of presence, sense of aliveness, sense of existence, without any knowledge at all. You don't even know. There's only this feeling of aliveness, existence, without knowing you're human, without knowing you have body, without knowing who you are, what you are, without knowing you actually are as something. And there are no boundaries. There is no form. There is no knowledge. There is no time. There is no names. There is no gender. There's nothing like that. That's why we do remember this sense of presence. And it's like, like, remember there was one of Angela's retreats and I asked a question, and Vivi, she said, this awakening path is not progression, it's more like regression. And I can see that it's more like regression, because you just, let's say, like this, like self-structure, it becomes like layers and layers and layers and layers. It's like kind of more solidifies. And this is kind of undoing process. All these layers comes off and off and off and off and off. It's like someone actually, I think, like in some kind of books, there was, someone, it was in some book, someone took an onion, they sat under the tree or something in the park, and they start to peel that onion off, and then when they got to the core, they realized there is nothing there. That's how, like, their awakening happened. But it is something like really, really like that. It's just like much more them layers than onions has. More like a cabbage. But even, I would say even more layers, and like you would peel a cabbage to its core and there is nothing there. So yeah, it's more a process of regression, not a progression. And I heard Rupert Spire talking about pre-egoic state of consciousness, egoic state of consciousness, a post-egoic state of consciousness. And it's also kind of makes sense. And there is a difference between pre-egoic and post-egoic state of consciousness, because when you don't go back to a child version of yourself, but you kind of expand yourself. Let's call it that way, because like I can't get any other words. But okay, it's not correct. You don't expand yourself, but let's call it like that. Um, you expand yourself beyond this like localized, small, separate me. There is that process of expansion. Okay, let's call it like this. It sounds a wee bit better. Instead of expanding yourself, there is a process of expansion. Let's call attention. Expansion of attention of this like localized, solid feel of me into this expansive vastness, spaciousness. And as a self-in mechanism, it's just like a functionality. Yeah, that's what I would say, like, is more like a description of post-egoic state. And there is awareness of what is happening. At least that's how it looks at the moment to me. Because it's all changing all the time. So tomorrow I can be telling a completely different story. In a month it can be a completely different story. In a year it will be a completely different story. Who knows? But at the moment that's my latest observations about life. Life in itself.